Hello everyone, I'm Elise as Another Truth on YouTube. Thank you and welcome to my channel and this audio-only commentary. I hope you're all doing well and you're taking great care of yourselves. I realize it's late now. It's already Monday for some, and it's very close to Monday on my end. Just a content warning. I will be discussing very sensitive topics around certain types of abuses, neglect, betrayal, KJ's obstinance, and her evasion of boundaries, crime, etc. I know that these are very sensitive things for certain people. Please take good care of yourselves. You do not have to listen to this. You can always come back at another time. I respect that. I do not want your well-being compromised because of what I say on here. Now, this will not be scripted per se. It'll come from my own interpretation of what I'm reading. I will not rage react. I think, for me, rage reacting only upsets people who may not have a stronger threshold, because I do not want anybody to go after anybody else in what I talk about in my videos, okay? Don't do it. Unless you know for certain there are things going on and you are compelled to say something, or you're a mandated reporter of some type, that you check your local laws and what your responsibilities are in that, okay? Use your good judgment. But I do not condone harassment of anybody that I talk about here through law enforcement, social services, or in any other form whatsoever. This is why I'm not going to rage post, doing rage videos. It doesn't help me or my blood pressure or my well-being. It zaps the energy out of me, but it also is in your best interest I don't do it. I do not want to be responsible for anything that comes from this, because I was not able to control my emotions. I want to keep this calm and as relaxed as possible, but the topic is very difficult and it's very frustrating because, again, we deal with examples of boundary erosion and plain disrespect for people, okay? All right, so allow me to begin. Before I start everything I say here is my opinion, perspectives. Don't count it as fact. Seriously. It's good that you get a broader view of what's going on. Feel free to connect with anybody you want to connect with. Do your own research. Make your own decisions wisely on any of the conclusions you draw from it. Okay? I think that's a great way to do things. I'm not really a source of that information. I just give my interpretation of what's going on. So this is an Instagram post screenshot that I'm referencing to, where Katy Joy is without a crystal ball on Instagram. So I am going to read this, and I do not have any scripted commentary based on my opinions, but I will make certain types of definitions and give certain examples. Dear Wissman family, I will not be bullied by you to remove photos on Jana and Stephen's engagement. The photos were published on the Not Wedding site and registry. The website is public and not private. The photos were part of the wedding website and part of public domain. Katy Joy does not know what public domain means. I will not be bullied. She doesn't know what bullying means either. To remove photos that were shared publicly. Period. Okay, please allow me to give you an interpretation of bullying. Well, what bullying is. Now, Katy Joy labeled this demand as bullying, but it's a blatant misuse of the term. To provide clarity, bullying refers to a pattern of repeated, intentional, and aggressive behavior intended to intimidate, harass, or harm another person. Keep that in mind. This behavior often involves an imbalance of power where the aggressor exerts undue influence or control over the victim. In this case, what Katy Joy is experiencing is not bullying, but rather a justified and legitimate request and a critique of her actions. And I don't even know if it was a critique. It was a demand by the Wissmans, perhaps, and the artist, and whoever else was involved with these pictures. Now, leave it up to Katy Joy to deflect and to misuse terminology to lessen the value of that word for people who have been injured by bullying. I'm not saying she's the only one who's doing it. I'm not saying she's the central force of whatever to do that. But Katy Joy, it's hard to know whether she's reacting and or deliberately doing this. But I think personally that she is defensive when she is confronted. But I do think that she knows exactly what she's doing by diminishing that term and the experiences of people who have been bullied by her to, again, diminish the meaning of the word and the impact that it has on the people who've been bullied and the impact of her dismissal of other people's experiences. You don't get to rewrite history and pretend like the Duggar family hasn't been involved in an insidious cult that led to Josh Duggar's sex crimes against his sisters and his criminal case of downloading sexual abuse material. Well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Where their pictures were being used improperly by Katy Joy, acquired improperly, and Katy Joy appropriated those photos in order to make revenue from her disgusting commentary. She uses the unfortunate abuse, exploitation, and harm that was not only caused on the female children of the Duggars that we know of, well, not so much by name, but by knowing the facts about the case. But anybody who was hurt by Josh's acquisition of that material and consumption of that material and sharing of that material. Material that Katy Joy herself has allegedly accessed. And I say allegedly because I'm unclear as to how much of it she's acted or, how much of it she's actually acquired. So she is, again, going after another family. It has nothing to do with Katy Joy's perversity, her anti-sex prudery, and her disgusting, inappropriate tirade against them. Katy Joy doesn't care about any of Josh's victims. She has rehashed these abuses to throw back into other people's faces. This would be one thing if she were talking about a family that hid things for years, or knew about Josh and overlooked that and didn't defend anybody. Whatever. Katy Joy does not explain any of this in this post. From what this looks like, that this is just because people went after her for misusing photographs. And she used the abuse and exploitation of others to charge back at them. Now, on a lesser note, Katy Joy, I believe, is very envious of Jana Duggar. If you look at Jana Duggar and her husband, Stephen, they are a beautiful couple. If you put Katy Joy and her toad together, they are not a beautiful couple. Okay? Katy Joy doesn't have much going for her. So she will use any piece of information arbitrarily to go after people, regardless of the impact it has on the people she is using as cannon fodder against people she thinks she's in war with. Okay? You do not get to erase that Jana Duggar was charged with child endangerment related to a toddler, and she lied to the police. This was a misdemeanor. I'm still quite unsure what happened. Anything in that house is possible, given that we have the patriarchy who has allowed this monster to upend their lives, to hurt these girls when these women were girls, and attempted to sweep all of that under the rug. I do not know what happened, but at that time, it was an extremely chaotic period. I'm not going to give Jana a free pass. She had I believe, a fine from it. She had to face consequences for it, and she did. Okay? Now, that isn't, listen, a toddler getting away, yes, that's a problem. And luckily the toddler was found safe. The child was found safe. Okay? Luckily it wasn't worse than that, because it would have been horrible. But if you look at the whole picture of how Jim Bob and Michelle ran that house, many things could be understood. Not excused, but to some extent understood. Okay? Now, Katy Joy, in my opinion, in my perspective, and this is where she projects a lot, has a son she is not emotionally invested in my opinion. She is the type of person that she would sell her family for $1 for clout. and I'm not exaggerating. She has done nothing but exploit her child in a different way, in a way to deflect from the pain and suffering she has caused other families, including children of those families. For example, supernatural crime with Nikki. Nikki has experienced death threats and death threats against her child. That kind of thing is not something one brushes off or can brush off. An environment was created where Nikki has to look over her shoulder and then she's worried about her son, and it causes an incredible amount of stress. That stress affects the mind and the body. And what's worse is that she attempted to get justice for this, and somebody or some group, possibly connected to KJ, in my opinion, interfered with that at that time so that she couldn't seek justice. Now, a higher investigative power is involved. And no, there's still FBI involvement with those threats. I think KJ said that there weren't. No. Or there was no more investigation. These investigations are not a quick turnaround. Now, I don't know the extent of what is being investigated, what the FBI has requested in terms of Google's the request from Google. I know not everybody's emails were requested, but there is a bigger problem here. But yet KJ, day after day, talks about how her son is this, she's been threatened, and all of that. And she will use her son's life, his experiences, the things that go on for him, the things that happen to him, as a means to deflect away from her own alleged criminal behavior, possibly. She puts that child in danger while she uses him as a shield to stop people from criticizing her. She does not have any respect for the legal system, law enforcement, or anybody else. It is my opinion that she's used law enforcement to harass people herself. That's not to say she's not the only one doing it. That's why I say, and at the beginning of every video, don't go after these people. Don't use law enforcement to harass them or to take out revenge or anything on these people. You know, and it's not just that, it's also because innocent people in their environment might be caught up in that. And what I worry about is when people target KJ directly like that, if any of that targeting is going on, it is going to affect her son. And that's what I'm afraid of. But I also have a lot of empathy for other people's children who have been threatened. So KJ has a lot of nerve talking about other people's bad parenting, but specifically going after Jana in relation to her engagement with this man and wedding with this man in the Wissman family, because of her envy and her rage that she can't control people. She can't force them to stop existing and getting married and having families. So she's going to resort to bringing up any possible little thing that can discredit them, while she herself has done nothing but hurt and exploited people herself for clout, for revenue, and for her own defense. Damn the consequences. I am well aware that Bob Duggar is sending you to do this dirty work, and I refuse to play his sick game of attempting to take back the narrative that he didn't cover up sex crimes and enable the abuse of his daughter. I do not disagree that Bob Duggar did this. I think the man is a creep, personally. But Bob Duggar is not sending the Wissman family to do any of this. And if Katy Joy doesn't understand, this also affects his daughter. Katy has no proof that Bob Duggar is behind this. It's much like the accusations that 15,000 subredditors, including myself, are in the employ of Robert Shen, or the people that she accused of directly in a more impactful way, and not in a good way, of being connected with Robert Shen and doing this against her. Now, I can't vouch for other people's associations, or their behavior, or their connections with others. I can't vouch for that 100% with anybody, and I do not expect anybody to vouch for anybody's behavior like that 100%, especially on the internet. Yes, I do thank people in my posts, excuse me, YouTube description, for providing this archived material for me to work on. And I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything illegally other than my own perceptions of Katy Joy's behavior. But that is a matter of opinion and not a matter of fact. Now, Katy Joy is not aware of anything. Katy Joy is paranoid. And Katy Joy is making connections where connections should not be. The fact of the matter is, she had no right. I don't care how she thinks of these families. I don't care if she thinks these people are in a cult. She had no right to take any photo, stamp the photo with her own emblem, claiming them as her own, and using them and misusing them for revenue. This is what this is all about. Katy is the bully. Now, Katy might have influence on some people, but she doesn't have influence on these families who have a lot more money and a lot more power than she does. It doesn't mean I agree with these families. It doesn't mean anything. Believe me, I do not support their beliefs or anything like that. And their beliefs, I'm talking about like their political beliefs, their political ideology, the way that they see the world. No way. No way. But KJ can influence people with a lesser threshold of self-control to do what she needs to do. Katy Joy is on the losing end of this. Katy Joy doesn't have much going for her. She is a broken and empty person. That is actually sad. And this is what she does. And she gets in the way of any real advocacy work, any help that anybody is trying to offer, because Katy Joy wants to be known as this type of person. Katy Joy has never advocated for anybody except for herself, and she doesn't even do a good job of that. All of this is just another way to project her own personal dissatisfaction with her lifestyle, dissatisfaction with the things that she sees as burdens on her life and what she wants. And if, like I said, if you were to compare these couples, there's no way she is not in their league. And she reaches for people out of her league because she wants some type of clout. I don't know why. I would not want to associate with any such people. The people I associate with are good people. They're influential in their own way, but they're very kind people. But for Katy Joy, she'll gravitate toward anybody for a buck, even if it means selling her own family, because that's how she is, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to close this here.